Remember how we did an episode on double bosses? Time for a sequel. Triple bosses. There's 3 of them now. Alright, seriously though, there's actually legit game design stuff to talk about here. A triple boss is its own category. It's not just 2 bosses and a third wheel. It's its own trope. A unique type of gameplay, and a unique chance to bring elements that can spice up a game's combat. A triple boss can feel like a chess match, but faster, where positioning and keeping your head on a swivel are the most important things. It can give the bosses new ways to work with each other, fresh ways to attack a party, and give a chance for your players to try some new tactics. With a new format comes new pitfalls too. Don't want those. That sounds like plenty of stuff to talk about. Let's do triple bosses. Get the work slop off your laptop by learning how to code reliably with today's sponsor, boot.dev. New years are the time for new skills, and boot.dev teaches you how to read and write computer code. They've turned the whole process into an RPG. With their bite-sized lessons, you'll learn modern languages like Python, SQL, Go, and TypeScript, and how to think like a programmer to break down problems, granting you the tools to properly run, diagnose, and fix bugs, all while making each new lesson easy to flow into, one after another, whether it's for work or for your sick pleasures, or a fun hobby. They've built leaderboards and competitions to test your new skills, as well as an active Discord community to help you get unstuck and back on the right path. Not to mention how easy they made it to try out. You can do every single lesson they've posted as a free demo, plus a great refund policy. 30 days, no questions asked if you're not satisfied. Click the link and use my code DESIGNDOC to get 25% off your first year on their annual plan. We keep plugging them because they're that good. We're serious. Thanks to boot.dev. So, what makes a good triple boss? We're not just talking about any boss. This is one that has 3 distinct, substantial components. 3 characters operating at the same time. Maybe independently, maybe teamwork, but they have to feel like distinct pieces, and not just like a dude with a face and 2 hands and that's it. What do you have to think about to make a boss with 3 components work in a game? Well, let's start with the most obvious bits first. Triple bosses can be very difficult, like a difficulty bump that's inherent to their triplicality. For a player, keeping track of 3 things at once makes everything more demanding. A game designer can work with that, but it can be easy to go too far. Your job as a game designer isn't to defeat your players. It's one of the first lessons that a DM running a tabletop RPG has to learn. It's very easy to keep pushing the envelope more and more until a fight encounter just isn't fun for anyone. A triple boss can easily cross that line, like this triple boss's pizza tower mod. They just stuck 3 copies of a boss into one arena. That's it. The boss fights in Pizza Tower aren't balanced for this in the slightest. Impossible patterns to dodge, way too much going on. It's for memes and P-rank sickos only, not for general consumption. But it is kinda fun to mess around with. You can make a fight challenging, or noisy, or busy, but you have to make sure it's still doable. Your job as a game designer is to guide an experience, not kick people in the face. And that line is thinner than you think. Blasphemous has the Tres Angustias. They're a trio of ghostly sisters that float around and group together. You fight them in an arena that endlessly scrolls up, with flames below. You have to constantly platform upwards and climb the walls on the side, all while avoiding their attacks. 2 of the sisters wield spears that they fire at you like sniper rifles, which you can parry. And the third has a double-sided mace that she'll throw around the screen like a boomerang. Occasionally, the 3 will combine into a single entity to fire large beams from the floor, that each take up a third of the screen, sometimes 2 at a time. The worse off they are, the more they'll spam it. The sisters share the same health bar, and hitting 2 of them at once can increase your damage output a ton. Since all 3 are always valid targets, it can be very easy to focus a little too much on trying to get your attacks in. You might drop your guard and fail to spot another attack behind you in time. Triple bosses are really good at creating this type of fight, where having great spatial awareness gets dramatically more important to be able to survive. Having so many targets, so many projectiles, and an auto-scroller on top of all of that makes it difficult to juggle everything in your head at once. The variety of attacks in a triple boss can make or break how chaotic the fight gets, and it's easy to go too far with small tweaks. If all three sisters use the spear, it might be a little too predictable. The club throws a literal wrench into your plan, making it tougher to settle into any one place for any amount of time. No place is safe for very long. This is skirting right up to that line, where any more elements to deal with would compound on top of the rest and make it bordering on unfun to a player who didn't seek out that sort of bullet hell-like challenge. Now, that's not to say you can't make a boss very chaotic, but this space is one where small tweaks to boss attack patterns might have gigantic impacts to overall difficulty. Luckily, there are ways to make a fight that looks very chaotic, but turns out to be more doable than it first appears. Way back in the Double Bosses video, we mentioned the Mantis Lords, a majestic and rhythmic fight escalating from a fairly simple one-on-one to a great two-on-one that layered multiple copies of a single enemy on top of each other. It's one of the best fights in Hollow Knight, and that's not just me talking. But there are three sisters. What if? And then the Godmaster DLC described What If. The whole DLC is a colossal boss rush through the whole roster, plus some extra revamped hard versions of bosses for fun. The Mantis Lords start out like normal, but when Phase 2 starts, well, hope you're ready. It's really an obvious place to go with the fight. All three sisters will dash, dive, and pincer attack you without fail for as long as you can hold out. It's unrelenting, leaving you with basically no time to heal or even to just gather yourself. This would actually feel like that Pizza Tower mod, if not for one important difference. The one thing that makes it doable, the rhythm. The sisters aren't going to attack you at any time. There's a pattern, and safe places to be during those patterns. The rhythm of combat lets a player subdivide, predict what's coming next, and actually plan what you're going to do, instead of purely reacting to what's happening. Not so hard now, is it? Well, it's still hard. Once you have a sense of the rhythm of this fight, you can fall into an almost magical flow state, dodging and countering on pure instinct. The better you get, the cleaner the outcome, and you get the satisfaction that feels a lot like nailing a difficult song in any rhythm game. It's a performance as much as anything. It's even fun to watch someone else play. The rhythm is so important that when you finally take out one of the sisters, it almost feels off. Now you're missing a beat. The fight slows down significantly, and all of a sudden gets much easier. The fight overall is not that complicated, but having some organization to the chaos of a triple boss fight can let you push the difficulty up and maybe even make something better than the sum of its parts. That's what created one of the best encounters in all of Hollow Knight. So far, this video is heavy on the action games, but triple bosses can show up anywhere. Some of these ideas apply better to one genre or another, but some have mechanics that can work in unique ways. A triple boss in a turn-based RPG can do some funky things with the game's turn economy. Ozzy, Slash, and Flea are very optional, very powerful secret bosses in Chrono Trigger. The three of them have their own tactics, their own double and triple techs. They're just like you, one party versus another, in something of a mirror matchup. And that lets this fight feel a little different than the game's single bosses. In something like a turn-based RPG, 3-on-3 fights start to really expand the options of what teammates can do for each other, how they can team up to attack, and how players can approach taking the bosses down. Ozzy, Slash, and Flea get turns at about the same pace you do. The number of powerful moves the three of them get to fire off can be overwhelming for the unprepared. You have to figure out what's the best and fastest way to take them out, all while you withstand a full assault from a full party with powerful abilities, like the ones your party has gone to dish out the whole game. You have to prioritize targets, who's hurting the most, who's easiest to take out, which characters combine, And can you take out one of them quickly to make your life easier? Will someone leave if the others fall? Or maybe they get stronger when they're alone? The fight format lets you devise your own tactics. These three are giving you their best shot right out the gate. If you can knock one of them out, their battle tactics have to change. They can't use triple techs, or any double techs involving whoever died, so their damage output takes a big hit. The hardest part of the fight is that first stage, where you just have to withstand punishment enough to start to tilt the board in your favor. It's a great way to make a boss that plays distinctly from the others in the game, and the shifting tactics and abilities they get to use feel a lot more natural in a fight against 3 characters rather than trying to shoehorn all that intuitive behavior in a fight against a single character. Chrono Cross, of course, brought them back, and the turn economy and teamwork dynamics work exactly as well here as they did in Trigger, even with a battle system that can be very different. The triple boss format gives a great template for natural teamwork among opponents, and a unique way for players to try to meet the challenge. A triple boss fight isn't just about the bosses. You need somewhere to fight, right? More combatants means more chaos, and more space needed to keep things from getting too chaotic. You need an arena that's fit for the task. Otherwise, you might end up with this. Kingdom Hearts has a mini boss fight in Halloween Town. Lock, Shock, and Barrel are 3 tiny kids trying to beat you up in a tiny room. The fight is very short, less than a minute, but the cramped layout of the stage makes for a mess of an encounter. It's hard to keep track of what's going on. The Kingdom Hearts 1 camera is a pain even under the best circumstances, and wrestling with it in this fight is pretty bad. The kids are small and quick, easy to lose track of and miss their attack tells, so sometimes you get blindsided. Off-screen hits happen all the time, and you can get comboed pretty easily by the kids' spin and roll attacks. Now their HP is low, and the attacks aren't too damaging, but just because it's easy to handle doesn't make it less awkward. Good luck doing a level 1 challenge playthrough, where their attacks actually do hurt. 3 tiny targets zipping around a claustrophobic arena make for a disastrous cluster of an encounter. Even if the arena seems spacious enough on paper, other game mechanics might make a triple boss feel a little cramped. There are a few multi-bosses in Luigi's Mansion, but there's only one triple boss near the end, the Clockwork Soldiers. They're a trio of artificial ghosts, whatever that means. Initially static, the soldiers come to life once you activate some clocks in the background. They start to move and try to bop you into last week with their toy muskets. To expose their hearts and suck up each soldier, you need to use your vacuum to spin the wind-up key on each of their backs. It's not that crazy of a fight, but it's a little annoying. When you suck up ghosts in Luigi's Mansion, you can't precisely control your positioning. Luigi gets jorked around a little, and you can influence him, but not precisely. If you're focusing on just one of these soldiers at a time, you're liable to get knocked out of the tug-of-war by the other 2. You kinda just have to hope that the RNG of your movement and of the other 2 soldier AIs doesn't leave you open. On a normal run, you will eventually get through this, even if you get hit a few times, but getting the gold frame award on the fight is much tougher. The way gold frames work is that you have to drain at least 90% of each ghost's health in a single suck before they shake out of it. Focusing only on one ghost leaves you vulnerable from random attacks from the other 2, and you can get knocked out of the fight quite easily, and there goes your prize. You're at the mercy of RNG to keep you safe, and with so much action in such a small space, you barely have a chance. The raw chaos of a triple boss fight with 3 totally independent AIs controlling things makes getting the gold frame extremely hard to do. Except, there's an easier way, though the game doesn't tell you this. You only have to get 90% off of the blue soldier, which is the only one that drops pearls, which is the thing that determines what type of frame you get. Does that make sense for why the blue one is important? Not really. Whether that was the plan all along, or was added during playtesting when everyone tore their hair out, who knows. Whether it's teamwork in a turn-based game, or the real-time chaos in an arena, interaction between each member of the trio is what makes the triple boss format unique. So what would happen if you took that interaction away? Turns out it's bad. What would Star Fox be without Starwolf? A squad of rivals, your team against theirs, head to head, in a great change-up level type as you trade in a rail shooter for an actual dogfight. But you might be thinking, wait, Starwolf is a 4-man team, not a triple boss. This shouldn't be here. And you're right. I'm talking about Star Fox Assault. Star Fox Assault did some downsizing. Pigma's been kicked out for being Pigma. Andrew... yeah. So now it's just Wolf, Leon, and the newcomer, Panther. And they're all out for revenge. Still. Again. But this time, the fight's bad. A triple boss at least sorta implies that the 3 components will work together towards a goal. This fight doesn't have that. Starwolf appears from the north, and each fighter will wait for you to head on over. There's really no urgency. They stay in their own respective corners of the map, and won't react until you're in the aggro zone. They don't seek you out, and they won't even fire on your 2 wingmates, who also won't fire on them. They'll tell you as you approach, but you just need to somersault behind them and light them up. If you happen to be in exactly the wrong part of the Venn diagram, you might accidentally get double teamed, but that's about as dangerous as the game lets them get. Pick them off one at a time and move on. It's really a sad downgrade of a fight from what Starwolf does for the other games in the series. 3 characters that never team up or impact each other at all is missing the point of the format. It's not unlike the Boom Boom and Pom Pom fight we talked about in the Double Bosses episode. No interaction between the bosses makes the fight into 3 distinct, worse fights, and throws away an opportunity to fit something unique into the game. Now, what if you take the opposite route? Lean in on highlighting the interactions between each boss. Turns out, that's good. The original Hades had an excellent 2-on-1 boss fight with Theseus and Asterius, where both combatants played distinct roles that played off each other to make the fight a stiff challenge, but not too messy or unfair. Both characters felt different to fight, and who to prioritize was an open question for players to decide on their own. It's only fitting that Hades 2 would up the ante. At the end of Oceanus lies a musical trio, Scylla and the Sirens. They block your way and won't move without a fight. Scylla, Jetty the guitarist, and Roxy the drummer each play their own role. Scylla is the tank of the trio, a diva singer with an invincible clamshell covering her back, and firing off attacks like a spinning laser, a flamethrower shriek, and a homing music note. Jetty is more mobile, dashing around to create shockwaves, bubble projectiles, and a stun beam. Roxy can't move from behind her drum kit and controls your movement in the space by creating area of effect attacks that move around the arena. None of the 3 band members are a big deal individually. When fighting together though, their overlapping attack patterns get chaotic quickly, keeping you on your toes. There's only the 1 health bar on display, but each member actually has their own portion of it, and will get knocked out of the fight when you deal enough damage to them. Oh, did I mention that the soundtrack was tied to each member? As you knock out band members, the musical layer they'd be responsible for gets knocked out of the mix. Love that. Once all the band members are down, they rejoin the fight and a second phase starts in one of 3 unique ways. One of the trio will get the featured artist buff, and the spotlight will be on them. Their part is made more prominent in the mix, and their attacks are amped up. You can take out the band in any order, but your decision might be based on your build or who the featured artist is. Scylla and her band are a great escalation of the group fight concept from the original game, where each of the 3 gets a clear role. Their presence is acutely felt through mechanics and aesthetics while they're still alive, and the way you approach the fight, what build you're coming in with, as well as the randomized featured artist element, can make the same fight play out in many different ways. A perfect format for a boss you'll be running into over and over again. Since a triple boss can lean heavily on the interactions between characters, you can design a fight where players messing up those synergies becomes a critical part of how players can win. Dark Souls has the Gank Squad, Lautrec and his 2 bodyguards. Midway through, Lautrec kills the Firekeeper, the lady keeping the central hub's bonfire alive, and with it kills a really convenient place to do bonfire stuff. But there's gotta be a way to bring her back, right? All you gotta do is take the Black Eye Orb off her body and bring it across the world. Once you do, you can fight Lautrec, invading his space just like how you invade the games of other players. Lautrec isn't alone. He has 2 bodyguards, a spellcaster, and a knight armed with a spear and shield. Lautrec himself is the most mobile of the 3, and can pierce through your block with curved blades. It's a pure 1-on-3 fight. There's no way to call in backup. But do you need it? Not if you know the trick. The triple fight is a bit unfair, but Lautrec is actually your only goal here. Good thing too, because a straight up 1-on-3 with these guys is a tall order. You're encouraged to try and play smart and find the right approach, and not to try to overpower the encounter, even if that means cheesing the fight. With the right build and equipment, you can beeline for Lautrec and take him down before the other two get a chance to intervene. Or maybe you want to separate them a bit, luring Lautrec out with a ranged weapon, or using the level's geometry to try to separate the members a bit and take them out one at a time. It's not exactly a free fight, but it's a pretty dramatic difference in how successful you will be depending on how you approach it. It's a boss designed to be just a bit unfair in a straight fight, and how open the encounter is to rewarding different approaches the player takes helps Dark Souls make sure a bunch of different playstyles can have their time to shine. So we've gone over how if you're not careful, triple bosses can veer towards unbalanced, cramped, chaotic, and hopeless. But sometimes, if you really know what you're doing, that can be exactly what you need to help players find a better way forward. Dark Souls 2 treats the triple boss more like an interesting punishment. The Ruined Sentinels are 3 copies of the same towering hammer-wielding knights. It's an arena split between a small broken balcony on the upper level and a large lower pit. As you walk through the fog door, you'll be on a balcony with one of the sentinels right next to you. The space is cramped, but you can deal with him easy enough. He's not much of a close range guy. But if you try to get by him and jump down immediately, now you're in trouble. There are 2 more sentinels waiting below, and that fight won't be easy. Much less if you've got the balcony sentinel following behind. Fighting all 3 at once is intentionally unfair. They all have sweeping attacks that cover each other and simply overwhelm you, giving you no real chance to counterattack. Even if you stay up in the balcony, you can't screw around. Take long enough and the 2 from below will jump up and make it a 3-on-1 fight in the cramped upper level. The game makes the trio's synergies a punishment for letting things get out of control. This fight is a triple boss where speed and landscape matter. A more basic version of this fight, where the game simply throws all 3 of the sentinels at you at once in a flat arena, would be a frustrating nightmare. It wouldn't even be out of character for Dark Souls 2, but I don't think that version would be anyone's favorite fight. Catching one of the 3 sentinels essentially off guard at the start of the fight, and using the time that they're split up to your advantage, might be the only way that you're going to make this fight doable. It's not something that affects your defenses or your damage output, but the tactics of a triple boss can come into play to make a fight that actually feels like a unique format. Any game could do good with more of that type of variety. Alright, if we're going to do a quadruple boss episode, I need every example you can think of. Head to the comments. Give me any boss fight that you can think of that has 4 or more members. Or just talk about your favorite triple boss formats down there. If you've got a cool idea for a triple boss kicking around in your mind, float it by your fellow video watchers and see what they think. Triple bosses are an opportunity for teamwork, for tactics, for friendship, and for love. In short, have a threesome. Happy New Year. Signed, Design Doc.